fade, or will you follow? Welcome to the Weekly Wager. Broadcasting live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios in Milwaukee. Alongside Ben Brust and Jen Latta, here's Greg Matzik.
Plot twist. No Greg Matzik. No Ben Brust. It's me, Jen Latta, and my favorite fill-in. I love it when Josh DiMaggio is here. What's up, Josh?
Hi, Jen. How are you today?
Saw you this morning.
Yeah.
Saw you this evening. You know, there's never enough Josh DiMaggio. I'm walking through Potawatomi this evening, guys, and I'm telling you, it was absolutely popping. Like, I'm walking past some tables and some slot machines out there, and people were cheering. Like, woo! So somebody was winning. It wasn't me. Not yet, anyway. I'll have to try my luck as soon as I'm done with the show here. And obviously, there's a lot we can talk about. I'm watching the screen in front of me right now, and I am looking at the Women's College World Series between Texas Tech and Texas. If that's something that floats your boat and gets you excited, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I think we got to start, Joshy, with the NBA Finals.
Yes.
I think that is the most obvious place for us to begin. We talked about it a little bit this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy about how the Indiana Pacers they were diverted because of severe weather in the Oklahoma City area. Do you think that type of stuff affects the team? First game of the series, you're just trying to get in, you got a little butterflies. Do you think that type of curveball changes the way a team is feeling?
I think it does. I think athletes are all human. You do a great job of humanizing them every week on College Game Day, but you realize stuff affects people the same way it affects us. Now, does it affect them throughout the duration of a game? No. Could it affect their preparation or the sleep they get? Or, a lot of those factors that we now know as basically a sports world that are extremely, extremely important, like the rest and the naps and the diet, all that stuff matters. So when your schedule gets thrown off, your routine gets thrown off, some of that will affect you. Does it mean it's going to result in a win or loss for either side? Sometimes yes, sometimes not. The traveling, thankfully, isn't all that far. It's not like a cross-country flight because, we know in the NFL, a lot of those teams that have to go up to Seattle and travel all the way across the United States, they are at a disadvantage in comparison.
Well, and one step further, as my computer pops off, you be quiet.
I heard that.
Who do you think you are jumping into our show like that? College football. Right? Yep. How much have we talked about how I think they just released some numbers as far as mileage goes, how much Oregon is going to be traveling this year. And as talented as you think Dan Lanning's squad is, like that's something you'll have to factor in when you're thinking about them taking on some of these other Big Ten teams. So for this one here, the numbers are pretty consistent depending on what book you look at. But we, of course, look at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And they have for game one, OKC as 9.5-point favorites. I think a lot of people for the series are picking OKC. I was looking on ESPN.com earlier today. OKC, I believe, they asked the experts, quote unquote, all the people who have a vested interest in the outcome of this series. It was 20-3. 20 experts picked OKC to win this series. 3 picked the the Pacers. There were even a few people who had gentlemen sweep Thunder in 5. So when you look at some of the things that Potawatomi is offering for this series, Indiana Pacers, it can be game related, it can be player related, it can be series related. What pops out to you?
It's just the massive series number here, the minus 715, I believe the Pacers are at for the entirety of the series here is just such a large number.
715.
And to put it into context, at 700, the Thunder are the 4th team favored at 600 or higher in the NBA Finals over the last 50 years.
Whoa.
Those teams have basically all gone on to win except for the one time the 2004 Pistons managed to have an upset in that series.
Wow, that is crazy. Good information there.
Only 5 times prior to this year has a team been favored at 300 or larger in each of their series, including the finals. The teams to do that, you'll recognize some of them. The 2020 Lakers, the 2017 Warriors, the 2000 Lakers, and the 1997 and 1996 Bulls.
And listen, when you tell me anything about the 2020 Lakers, I'm like, okay, bubble. okay, Orlando, like none of that stuff. I'm always like, it's such an anomaly. That was such a weird year.
Yep.
So, but it's the other ones that you mentioned that I still go, okay, there's some history there.
The dynastic teams that had just they were coast to coast, the best team. And you know how many times the Oklahoma City Thunder were underdogs this season?
How many?
4.
Wow.
4 times. Every other team who's ever done more is the 97 Bulls, the 2024 Celtics, the 2017 Warriors, and the 96 Bulls.
So if you think that it is this lopsided, I think we may be able to find some value in taking the Thunder to win the series in 5. Because that would be the gentleman's sweep that I mentioned earlier. And a lot of books have that at plus 250 if you genuinely think that they are that dominant. Now, here is the caveat. Here is the thing, the fly in the ointment, if you will. Man, these Pacers have been pesky. Man, have they been like an upstart, weaving around your head. You're trying to swat away the fly at the picnic. They have been so irritating for a lot of these teams. And even when some of their opponents, as they've made their way to the finals, have thought they've had the best of them, man, Joshy, how quickly do they go on a 12-point run, 15-point run, 18-point run? And then it's
just think even one specific game, how many times they had like historic comebacks, the ones where they're saying teams were 950-2 all time, and they managed to they did that like 3 times in this playoffs. Last time I was on this program with Greg Matzik, I said I wanted to bet the Pacers at plus 150 against the Knicks because I thought everyone was undervaluing them. Now, I could still sort of make a case for the Pacers not being as big of an underdog as they are at plus 500, but when the numbers are stacked against you this way, it's not just an anomaly. Right. It's just not a little disrespect. It's 2 worlds of difference. The Pacers were 66-1 to win the finals this year. So it's remarkably improbable while being remarkably impressive. And I think this team is far better than probably the books and everyone else is giving them credit for. But the Thunder are one of those rare teams that seem to be at a level that nobody else in the NBA is.
And as much as Bucks fans are experienced, and if you've watched the other series, you saw that this team can score from really anywhere. Tyrese Halliburton is still the straw that stirs the Kool-Aid, right? And OKC seems to be, and we know that they are a top-rated defense, it seems like that will be their game plan, right, is to cut off the head of the snake. Yeah. Because if you can slow him down, if you can stop him, that feels like an easy way for all of the other pieces to sort of fall apart. I think I saw that he averaged 11 points per game against the Thunder, his lowest versus any team this season. So they already have a game plan. Now, do you trust Rick Carlisle? Do you see Rick Carlisle as a guy who can say, okay, I know you're going to play it that way. How can I play it this way and get some of my other guys involved? But it sounds like you are feeling pretty confident that if you had an option here, you would ride with the favorites.
To me, this is one of those situations. If I end up in a spot where I lose a historic upset, you just got to take it. When all the signs are pointing one way, it's not the best, like, let's say, gambling or touting advice here. It just, to me, it seems so improbable. And that is with me baking in a lot of credit for the Indiana Pacers. We're looking at one of those all-time NBA teams here with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And wouldn't it just seem to make sense of, well, yeah, of course the Pacers aren't as good. That was a good run, really impressive. But when push came to shove, like, think of all the teams that you've been impressed by going on these runs. And then they actually meet competition. And you go, oh, yeah, that's why we're here. I'm thinking of teams like the Washington Commanders. Like, a healthy Celtics team, I don't think struggles with the Indiana Pacers. So they had the advantage here in a situation I guess we just didn't expect them to be, and I think the books are representing that.
So let's go to the next thing, which is the NBA Finals MVP. Now, we may get together next week, and this thing may still be going, and maybe the odds will have shifted a little bit depending on the performances that you have seen from specific guys. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is minus 560, and everyone else is plus odds. Tyrese Halliburton is next, which makes sense, as we just said, the head of the snake, etc. Pascal Siakam is next at 1,600. Jalen Williams at plus 2,000. Chet Holmgren at plus 5,000. Miles Turner plus 20. I mean, it's not even worth mentioning some of these other guys because the numbers are just so unbelievably large. This doesn't even feel fun to me. This isn't even fun. You know, there's not even somebody else on this list where I'd go, well, maybe. I guess if you think that the Pacers and their peskiness and their ability to move the ball and go on those unprecedented runs puts them in a position to win this whole thing, then yeah, sign me up for Tyrese Halliburton at plus 650. But it is going to take an awful lot of convincing, and I'm going to have to really squint to get myself in a position where that view looks good.
Yeah, as much as I'd like to say, like, hey, Pascal Siakam, plus 1,600. He just won Eastern Conference MVP. We saw Tyrese.
Oh yeah,
Halliburton.
Much to the chagrin of Tyrese Halliburton.
Looked like he was about to accept a trophy that they didn't actually nominate him for, even though he was actually pretty close. But if the Pacers win, it has to be with Tyrese Halliburton playing out of his mind. You kind of know what you're going to get from Pascal Siakam. He's going to score points, but you need like every facet of Tyrese's game, which is why the Pacers are where they are right now, with his ability to produce for other players, for himself, and to come down with such timely shots, to be the guy that, you know, when the game's down to it. Like, the case you make for Halliburton here is there's an all-time upset, improbable upset, and Tyrese probably has like a buzzer beater or one of those runs that makes it, there's no question about who was the best player in the series type deal. He has to be all over offensively and defensively. And OKC, you can't even really make Jalen Williams is not going to win the MVP. Just the way OKC's offense is and the way everything runs through SGA, you have a really, really difficult time for even making a case on anybody on OKC.
I'm going through the points per game, and because game one is coming up tomorrow, let's look at that one specifically. 10 points scored by the player, including overtime. Not really a lot of value there. You might want to go to like an Alex Caruso to score more than 10 points at plus 125. That might be something you could maybe convince yourself is worth. But everybody else, I mean, Pascal Siakam to have more than 15 points, minus 315. Tyrese Halliburton to have plus 15 points. And we just mentioned his average against OKC is 11 on the season, but even those odds not great, minus 195. In order to get plus odds, you got to go down to Aaron Naismith, and that is at plus 170, and then Andrew Nimhart, who we have talked about before as well, at plus 195. So even there, like, for whatever reason, this feels chalky. Doesn't seem like the right word, but very predictable. Is that like, it feels like a predictable series in the way that things
coronation of the Oklahoma City
the season that they have had.
Yes. It is, things are going to go their way. They probably, aside from maybe once or twice, are like minus 700 is telling you they're going to win, and it's going to be relatively easy. Finals being this big of series odds to me, I told you, there's not many teams that have done it, and the teams that have done it are all-time great teams. So it just seems we're kind of all going to go, well, maybe we can make a case for the Pacers. And then by game two, we're all going, yeah, we all saw this one sort of happening here.
All right, I may have found you one. Let me go ahead and click back to it. I was just checking something before I verbalized it. 35 points per game. 35 points scored by the player, including overtime. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you can get plus 115. He's averaging 32 points this season. I mean, maybe. But again, if you feel like OKC is going to be as dominant as they were during the regular season, as they have been at times during this postseason, oh, there's my face on television. That doesn't happen very often, gang. I'm not going to lie. You don't just look up and see your face on television as you're hosting a radio program. And you know what, guys? Now that I've mentioned that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I feel like it's a perfect time to go to break. I mean, come on. That was wild, right? Like, yeah. The story that we did on the pitcher for Texas Tech is rerunning in advance of tonight's game one of the Women's College World Series, Texas Tech versus Texas. Game game one tonight coming up at the top of the hour. We will take a break here on Weekly Wager. Talked a little bit about the NBA Finals. We will talk about the NFL. I was really eyeing these offensive and defensive player of the year. I come from the college space. I feel like I know these guys really well. Very interested to see the way that some of those odds are leaning. And look at Joshy. Pulls up his notebook, flips to the page. He's like, I got you. I did my research. We'll get into that after this on the Weekly Wager.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN. The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance. World-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe. June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Shock. Unbelievable. What are they doing? So many different descriptions, so many different reactions, so many different opinions. After the New York Knicks, after having Tom Thibodeau completely change everything around and make them a relevant basketball team again, going to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, taking down the Boston Celtics along the way, and the New York Knicks said, not good enough, and they fired him yesterday with an extension on the table that he had already signed to kick in this year to give him $30 million more. Wow, I guess that's good work if you don't want to get it if you're Tom Thibodeau. So now what if you're the New York Knicks? This was a Leon Rose general manager decision, and James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks, signed off on it. Whoever's going to take his place, whatever guy is out there, one word of advice from me, Freddie Coleman, this PSA for you. You better get to the Eastern Conference Finals with this group or a different group, or else. And that or else never works in New York City. In 60 seconds, now or never for this superstar.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ, J-O-E-Q, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Yeah, we know about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Oklahoma City Thunder, trying to win a championship while being the MVP and becoming more known. Same thing with Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers, trying to be more known with those two combatants in their teams playing in the NBA Finals starting tomorrow night. But if anybody's under the gun in a now-or-never mode as a superstar, it is Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. Last year, they came close, got to a 7-game against the Florida Panthers, and they fell short. This is an organization known for Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Grant Fuhrer and Yari Curry and so many greats of the greats when that thing got started in the late 70s, early 80s, and they ruled the NHL for more than a minute. Many people believe that when is it going to be for Connor McDavid to get his turn? Well, not only did he get another chance, but against a team that took that away from him last year. He is clearly the best player in the sport, but sometimes you only get so many shots at the Dome to take it down. Connor McDavid has another shot, and it's now or never time for him. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde, and Father's Day is Sunday, June 15th. Get Dad something he can really enjoy. Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles. Order at Kringle.com and send Dad his favorite flavor, like their bourbon pecan. That's my favorite. To complete the gift, you can add a bag of gourmet coffee to your order, and you will be Dad's favorite child. Go to Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH and have it shipped right to Dad. Kringle.com or 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Back here on the Weekly Wager, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Got some action going on the televisions in front of us. And Joshy, you were explaining to me what that crowd noise that I heard when I walked in. It was a loud, like I was like, whoa, something's going on. What is it?
It's a fellow who live streams and videotapes himself and makes YouTube videos playing the slot machines. So they put their money in. Now, I don't want to discredit anything here, but they try and give you tips and tricks to try and maximize the amount of money you're putting into a slot machine. And it is like that whole streamer world, influencer world of people who just watch this guy kind of hit the slot button.
Well, I'll tell you what, they were very excited for whatever he was doing out there. So I'm guessing he was winning, which is good for him. And
I find myself walking in here being just like enraptured by when somebody's in the bonus and everything's spinning and the lights are yeah, it's like I got to stay here and see what happens.
I have a very strict rule when I'm at the slot machine. I have to sit through the celebration. So whatever it is that each individual game is, no, I'm not over there like bam, bam, bam,
I'm
bam.
smacking.
I know, yeah. 100% believe that about you, by the way. But no, like part of it is to like make it draw it out a little bit, last a little longer. I want to get to these NFL prop bets. Rookie of the year. So we were all paying very close attention to the NFL draft just a month or so ago here in Wisconsin. And I looked at these numbers and I was like, well, that is interesting. So if you scroll to the futures on the NFL page at Potawatomi Sportsbook or do it here at one of the kiosks that they have, they make it very convenient for you. Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year, there are already odds out. Now, you could argue way too early. Sure. But for fun, let's have a conversation about it.
Best time to bet them.
Well, I agree, because before you start seeing depth charts and you start seeing, schemes and how often are they going to run the ball versus how often are they going to throw the ball, all of that type of stuff, you could sit here and go, what do the trends say? So I think Offensive Rookie of the Year is the most interesting one to me because Ashton Jeanty, running back for the Raiders, obviously we saw him just absolutely dominate at the collegiate level, is plus 250 to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that's all well and good. Saquon Barkley won Offensive Rookie of the Year as a running back. But for the most part, Joshy, what position wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, or at least has 9 out of the last 20 times?
Well, I can name you the last 6. Jane Daniels, C.J. Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray.
And those are all quarterbacks, which brings me to my next point, which is Cam Ward is plus 300. And for me, that feels like a safer bet, a more value, a smarter bet to bet Cam Ward as the quarterback to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I will also tell you this, because I think you're on the same page as me when it comes to that. Travis Hunter is the wild card, man.
Yep.
Travis Hunter is right now, he has odds for both Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Plus 700 for Offensive Rookie of the Year, plus 1,000 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Travis Hunter has insisted he will be playing on both sides of the ball in the NFL. I can't imagine that you take one of your top picks, your first overall pick, your first pick from the draft this year, and you tell him, yeah, you can do that. And then a few months later, Josh, you go, actually, no, you can't. That doesn't seem like a great way to start out with your new guy.
Yeah, the two you mentioned are obviously the guys leading the charge here. I think they are pretty good bets. I like Jeanty a lot. I don't think people realize that Chip Kelly is the OC in Las Vegas now.
Why would they? He was just at Ohio State.
Right. So what we know about his offense is they run a lot. They run a lot of plays, and he is quite creative. We don't like him as a head coach. But put him on the offensive side of the ball where he's focusing on dialing up plays and getting his players in good positions. That is favorable. The Cam Ward case, you basically make new coaching staff. Does that offense overperform expectations, which I don't think is a whole lot for them. So say they come out and win 8-9 games and are one of those teams where you're going, well, they got a chance to make the playoffs here. That would make a really good case for Cam Ward. But when I look at these, I'm looking for some of the longer odds guys that have roles that maybe the rest of the country is behind on. And this sort of fits in to my whole obsession with fantasy football. So I look at a guy like Caleb Johnson, who is going to be, he was drafted to Pittsburgh. He is likely to be their bell cow there. He's at plus 2,000. So that's a running back who was highly touted from Iowa that is going to be their starter. So he's going to get the majority of the work. So at plus 2,000, if for whatever reason, now we expect Aaron Rodgers to be there, that team wins 12 games, and a guy like Caleb Johnson has a ton of yards, a ton of touchdowns, because they love running the ball. I mean, that's what they wanted to do with Aaron Rodgers there with the Jets. Like, that's a focal point of the offense. You're trying to keep your aging quarterback healthy. That's one I'm looking at. There's also one here that I don't see available, but I imagine will be, and that's RJ Harvey from Denver, who I imagine will be at similar to long odds, where it's frankly a situation thing. We know Sean Payton likes to run the ball. We know he likes to use running backs. Now, he does that thing where a lot of running backs touch the ball. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. But they're in a situation where if he's the lead back there, that's a team you're probably making a case for being better, even better than last year. They've got a great defense. And if he's getting 300, 350 touches, why not him?
Are you having like Alvin Kamara flashbacks when you think about that?
Yeah, in a way. Like, it's just I'm trying to navigate and manipulate the situation here of what is the public or the book behind on in terms of here's how things are looking right now. Now, RJ Harvey, they just had J.K. Dobbins in. I believe he's like going out to dinner with the coaching staff, and they're kind of seeing if that would make sense. Him showing up there would immediately make me go, I want no part of it.
Does the Caleb Johnson thing, is it dependent at all for you on Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback there? Or are you sort of under the impression that Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, and therefore, because my argument to you would be, if Rodgers is the quarterback, that sucker's going to want to throw the ball.
Yeah, he's going to take away touchdowns. That is a thing we know. Breece Hall was unhappy with the amount of usage he got in around the goal line. But I do think Mike Tomlin, that's not Robert Saleh or whatever they got going on there. Aaron Rodgers, if he is in Pittsburgh, isn't going to be able to stock the team with the guys he wants that are going to be favorable to him. I do think it's...
Oh, that ship has sailed, huh?
Yeah. The proof is in the pudding there.
Maybe we were like, actually, that didn't work out for us all that well. We're not going to do that here.
The case I'm making here is, yes, he probably will lose because Aaron Rodgers will, and let's be honest, as critical as I've been, rightfully so. He takes care of the football. He's good at throwing touchdowns. But if he's on a team that wins 10 to 12 games, looks like one of the leaders in that division, the guy who's going to be a focal point of that offense is going to be Caleb Johnson. And that's the case I'm making. I would honestly, I might even favor it more if it ends up being Mason Rudolph, because then you're looking around going, well, who else? What the hell else are they going to do here?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think we should keep an eye on who ends up being the quarterback in that situation, because it could play a role in your Caleb Johnson at plus 2,000 pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year. For what it's worth, Tet McMillan is at plus 900, and they do expect him to get an awful lot of catches this year, just based on the way that team is currently structured. Matthew Golden for the Green Bay Packers, plus 1,500. And I got to be honest, I was trying to figure out a way in my brain that I could see Matthew Golden, Green Bay Packers wide receiver 1, at least we think, being the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I got to tell you, if the Green Bay Packers are in the NFC Championship game, maybe, Pookie to Golden has been a thing. Maybe that, I'd have to really, squint to see it right now. But that's a number I'll keep my eye on as the season goes on and see if it starts to move in any certain direction, and then maybe drop some coin on it.
Yeah. I'm always looking for situation. What did Bill Barnwell say? It's a logjam there at wide receiver. I think even a very impressive Matthew Golden season would make it hard for him to win, because you would be pointing at LaFleur, you would be pointing at Jordan Love, you'd be pointing at Jaden Reed. Like, it's difficult to see him becoming and asserting himself as the wide receiver 1, the target dominator, the way a guy like Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. And those guys weren't the Rookie of the Years. So it's an uphill battle in that situation. I'm looking for guys that are kind of in isolated situations where they really have to be the entire offense.
And I'm guessing that's part of the reason why you're hesitating on Travis Hunter. And we're going to talk about Defensive Rookie of the Year as well. And I think, flip a coin, man. Do you see him more as an offensive player? Do you see him more as a defensive player? I think it's just going to depend. Honestly, I'd like to start seeing what they're saying there. But I think he's going to win one of them. I think he has a really good chance at winning one of them. Just having been around this kid and the way his motor and did anybody expect Travis Hunter to be did anybody expect him to do what he did in college? Right? Think about where he started and his journey. But all he kept doing, Josh, he was just churning and churning and churning. And then he became one of the most explosive, dynamic players in all of college football. I really think he's going to have a great career in the NFL. I just don't know which side of the ball I should funnel that money towards with him.
So the markets seem to be telling us, and the coaches have given hints towards it, and they want him as an offensive player. They want him to focus on being a wide receiver, and then they view him as, when we need you or in packages, you are going to be a defender. That has changed from what was the held belief going into the draft process. But the type of investment they made in him is telling you they probably want to use him in two ways. The interesting thing is you can't really have a conversation without talking Defensive Rookie of the Year with Travis Hunter as well. The problem with Hunter is he would probably have to have one of those rare ton of interceptions, maybe defensive touchdowns type seasons, because this award oftentimes goes to guys that are the edge rusher. It's sort of one of their awards because it's such a visible impact.
Sure. And everybody loves sacks. Everybody loves quarterback pressures.
And think about the best defensive backs in the league. A lot of them you don't really know about because they're not throwing the ball their way. So if you're that good, unless they're testing you, it's pretty rare when those top-end cornerbacks are getting tons and tons of interceptions. So you kind of have to make a more creative case. Sauce Gardner did win this one. But that was a very unique situation for him that I'm looking at guys that are edge rushers and some guys that might end up as starters that maybe we don't think so.
So who do you like? You got Michael Williams, San Francisco. You got Jalen Walker with the Falcons. You got Abdul Carter with the Giants, all edge guys. Shamar Stewart with the Bengals. I'm going to give you those four. I'll pull up the odds while you're telling me who you like of those guys.
Yeah, obviously, Abdul Carter here's the one I'm probably going to focus on the most. But the names I like are the Michael Williams, Jihad Campbell at plus 1,500. And then a little bit of a longer shot here is the Carson Schweichinger from the Cleveland Browns. He was drafted, I think, 33rd or 34 overall. And they just had a season-ending injury to their linebacker. So we know the Cleveland Browns have a pretty damn good defense, and if that guy is in there making plays, and you need a little luck in here. If he has a big-time fumble recovery, interception that's returned for a touchdown, but I'm simply betting on, hey, I'm getting plus 5,000 on a guy who's probably not going to come off the field as a rookie here, and that's an advantage to me. The other name I would look at is a guy like Kenneth Grant, and then the case for Campbell is he needs to beat out Nakobe Dean, who they clearly are looking to replace. Mm-hmm. So put in a rookie in that spot, a guy who people thought was going to go much, much higher in the draft, and then just put him across from, I don't know, 6 Pro Bowlers. How's that going to look? Things are probably going to go, if he picks up quickly, things are probably going to go his way on that defense.
Although, to your point, when you have a defense like that has so many playmakers, so many guys who are good at what they do, you can get lost in there as well.
That's where you need the splash plays. That's why the bet like Abdul Carter is just so much safer because you know he's going to be on the field. He's going to get those counting stats that people love to look at. But I would throw on some of these longer ones. It's not all that uncommon for longer odds to hit in these markets because it's a guessing game. you don't know what's going to happen.
Very much so. Abdul Carter at plus 275 at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Walker plus 550. Mason Graham, I'm a little surprised that he's so high up
That's
on
draft
that list.
capital to me.
Plus 700. And then you've got the Travis Hunter at plus 1,000. And I got to tell you guys, again, far be it for me to tell anybody how to spend their money, but I just think Travis Hunter is going to have a remarkable season. Again, I just saw an article that said he made a acrobatic, incredible interception, play on the ball at training camp. What are they? OTAs, yes. Training camp, mini camp. I never can keep the calendar straight.
I trolled him because it looked like the ball hit the ground?
No, I didn't.
I said incomplete second down. I tweeted at him.
Unbelievable.
It was very impressive.
Those are the numbers. Again, I might throw some coin down on Travis Hunter on either side of the ball because I do think that he is going to make an impact in his first year just based on everything he has done leading up to this point in his career. So much more still to come here on the Weekly Wager. Jen Latta, Josh DiMaggio. We'll be right back after this.
We're back talking bets after this on the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
At Grunberg Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Grunberg Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
The big gig is back, starting June 19th. 9 days, hundreds of musical acts. Summerfest in Milwaukee is the event of the summer. Plus, tune into 94.5 ESPN all 3 weekends for Summerfest Saturday. Enter for your chance to win tickets to the ESPN Wisconsin app or visit summerfest.com. We'll see you out there.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
Tournament host Steve Stricker joins a star-studded group of PGA Tour champions at the American Family Insurance Championship. Catch the action June 6th through the 8th with an exciting team competition and a new tournament home at TPC, Wisconsin. This year's AmFam Champ concert features Megan Maroney with special guest Clint Black on Friday, June 6th at Bree Stevens Field. All proceeds support the Steve Stricker American Family Insurance Foundation and American Family Children's Hospital. Get your tickets today at amfamchampionship.com.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 9-ounce selected varieties essential everyday potato chips, 2 for $4. 3-count selected varieties Marushan ramen noodles, 4 for $1. 64-ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3. 12.8 to 18.8 ounce selected varieties Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches, $5.49.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers.
Safe. Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Kyle Walsh, and right now UWD is running their home improvement season sale. Payments as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Call 414-410-2000 or go to universalwindowsdirect.com.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Bratfest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at TravelWisconsin.com. Sponsored by Travel Wisconsin.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
You're listening to the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Congratulations to the Milwaukee Brewers. We got a big win today, 9-1 over Cincinnati. And I think I saw that Elly De La Cruz passed Tony Gwynn.
Strikeouts career, yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Tony Gwynn played for how many years? Elly De La Cruz, not that many.
He is still a young phenom.
Yes, but he does have a penchant for striking out. Yes. So I would always keep an eye on that number whenever you're looking at Cincinnati Reds games. But I will tell you this, I'm sitting at lunch today with my husband. I'm watching the game. I'm pulling up the Potawatomi Sportsbook app, and I'm going, over under 7 runs. Wow, the Brewers are up 3-0. Yeah, they're going to score. And then I was leaning under, not going to lie here. Did not place that bet. And then I was like, 9-1. Goodness gracious. I'm glad I didn't put any money down on that one.
Yeah, the Brewers have suddenly, after being setting franchise records for lack of run scoring, they've been pouring it on and like consistently. Obviously, we saw that outburst they had a few games ago, but they're scoring runs throughout games now instead of, well, you need the one big home run or you need the one inning and then you kind of just got to hold on. They seem to be things seem to be going the right direction for them when it comes to hitting.
And I was pleasantly surprised to see Cameron with the home run today. I believe that's what it was.
Cameron?
Yep, and having covered Mike Cameron for all those years in the league, it feels like a very full circle moment as he is now a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's pivot back to the Packers because, Joshy, we don't know how this division is going to shake out. I have said this over and over again. And listen, I want you to tell me, because I really trust your judgment on this type of stuff, if I'm being crazy. But I just cannot believe how high people are on the Minnesota Vikings, given the fact that they will have essentially a rookie quarterback under center. Like, I think Kevin O'Connell is great. Big fan. Yep. And obviously we saw what the Minnesota Vikings did last season. They've got a ton of talent, especially at the skill positions. But that is an awfully important position to see. And so, look, sometimes the numbers reflect it here at Potawatomi. If you're looking at division winner in the NFC North, the Lions are top dog right now at plus 120, followed by the Packers at plus 275. Then the Vikings plus 425 rather, and the Bears are at 475. Am I being crazy? Are you telling me, Jen, do not sleep, as Chewy always says about Atlanta, on the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, so I think there's a few factors here. I think everybody has the yips from last season where they predicted that the Minnesota Vikings were probably going to be the worst team in the division or near that because of Sam Darnold. What they're also doing is betting on Kevin O'Connell. If you can take Sam Darnold, who was seeing ghosts on the sideline, you could take a rookie and turn him into something. What I think that's ignoring is J.J. McCarthy wasn't sling the ball around the yard type of guy. He took a full season off due to injury. And then to add to that, Sam Darnold was a near MVP. It wasn't just that he was playing well or playing well for a guy who has had struggles, and he was playing some of the best quarterback in all of the NFL, full stop, period. So even a decent or somewhat impressive first season starting for J.J. McCarthy, I don't think is nearly good enough for them to be competing with teams like the Packers and the Lions and some of the other teams that they'll be facing across their schedule. So to me, I'm going to, and if I have to eat my words, so be it on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, they have done good things on their roster. They are one of those teams that won the offseason, but winning the offseason to me doesn't mean a whole lot. I don't put a whole lot of stock into it because we don't know what it's going to look like when it all comes together on the field. And then they have the factor of obviously that passing attack is going to help him a lot with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. But just to me, I'm going to bet on the people who have pelts on the wall, have done it before, who've been out there and gone through the grueling season. Jordan Love had to learn how to play injured. J.J. McCarthy hasn't learned how to play with anything other than the best roster in college football. This is different now. Things are different. Wisconsin isn't coming to the big house at any point this season. These are all NFL players. These are all the best of the guys you faced throughout your college career.
Could be a big year for Aaron Jones. Don't forget he's still up there as well. Could have a big sophomore season if, again, he is supporting a young quarterback under center and they choose to lean on the run game just to get him up to speed at the NFL level. Okay, so there's this cool thing that you can do at Potawatomi Sportsbook, which is essentially pick the order, the exact order of the teams, the way they will finish in each of the respective divisions. For our sake, we'll, of course, look at the NFC North. And look, there's a lot of options where the Lions are number one. There are options where the Packers are number one. But you can actually say 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are odds for that. So, Joshy, when you look at this, and there's a boatload of them, I think I just saw 40-some variations. Somebody smarter than me would be able to tell you exactly how many there are, right?
Yeah, it would be doing the powers of. Yeah.
Right.
I learned this in math class. Am I able to draw it up in my brain right now? No.
No, certainly cannot.
It looks like we've got one of our teammates there working on it in his head.
Carry the one. But so where do you lean? What do you like as far as the odds, the numbers go? Because look, if things go chalk and it's the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Bears, you could put money on that at plus 800 and feel pretty confident. But I'm guessing you like something else.
Yeah, the way I am approaching this, because it is one of these, you're essentially trying to hit a parlay on this.
Correct.
You could
the season.
Right. You can think you have a good way to do it. The way I'm looking for it and the way I'm going to do it is probably going to be either the Packers in first or someone crazy like the Bears. And that's not me saying, I expect the Bears to have a great season, but I'm trying to push the odds up here and hit a lottery ticket more than I am, if everything goes exactly the way I expect, teams stay healthy and make it through there, I'm going to try and sort of crank my odds up here and get a little against the grain, and something happens, you make the case, wow, Ben Johnson really changed things. Caleb Williams figured it out. He was just he was the first overall pick just a year ago. That's sort of the scenario I'm looking for here, rather than, the Lions are probably the best.
Okay, I hear you, and I'm liking your thought process, but here's what I don't think you, and you tell me if I'm wrong again, are willing to do. You're not willing to go to some crazy extreme and say Bears are 1, Lions are last, are you? Because with that option at Potawatomi Sportsbook is plus 5,000.
No, what I would probably do in that scenario is put them second or third, and just say there's probably 2 playoff teams in there. The Vikings have a 10-win season, make the playoffs, but it's not that. I meant the Lions. Sorry, the Lions have like a 10-win season, still end up making the playoffs, but they're a wild card team. They have Jared Goff misses 4 games. You're trying to hit these improbable the odds you're looking at there probably aren't the actual odds of if you were to run a simulation 10,000 times on how the NFC North's going to go. You're probably not getting the proper odds, so I'm going to try and crank them up and get creative.
Okay, so let me just pull a couple of them, and I'm just really looking at this lengthy list again and seeing a few of them. But if you want to go Bears first and you want to go Lions second, okay, Vikings third, Packers fourth, plus 2,500. If you want to go Bears first, Lions second, Packers third, Vikings fourth, plus 2,000. I got to be honest with you, I can't wrap my brain around a world where the Bears finish first in the division. But I do think if you feel like the Detroit Lions, who will be healthier this year, we don't know the effect of the brain drain with Johnson leaving. We just, that's the one thing that is the great unknown. But if you like the Lions to win the division, you got, again, decent odds, plus 800, plus 900, plus 1,000, plus 1,200. That's the Lions, and then any other variation of them. If you like the Packers to win the division, you get even longer odds because, as we mentioned earlier, the Lions are projected to be the top team in the division. But if you go Green Bay Packers first, Detroit Lions second, Chicago Bears third, Minnesota Vikings fourth, plus 1,200 odds. And that feels like something that I could get behind.
Yeah, that's definitely one, and that's probably the safer of the two options. Now we're talking plus 1,200 here, so none of these are actually safe. But what you're trying to do is basically find a scenario where things slightly go different. You're not upsetting the apple cart as much as I am in terms of, well, the Bears end up being a 13-win team. Ben Johnson is the truth. You're saying, hey, the Packers are close, and we can make all the cases for the reasons why we might have doubts about them. But if things bounce their way a few games, they win a 3 extra, Jared Goff misses some games, or they have issues on their defense again or on their offense, that's the way to probably do it. I'm having a hard time figuring out exactly how I want the Vikings and the Bears if I don't have one of them finishing as the division winner, because to me that's a total crapshoot. It could be like the Vikings might be a playoff team again, or they're a 6-win team that we're having conversations about.
Well, and I'm one of these people who, if I can find a way to hedge, I will. I wonder if there are ways here of putting things together where you can go, I know Green Bay and the Lions will finish 1 and 2. I know that the Bears and the Vikings will finish 3 and 4. And if I lay some cash down on a few of those, the likelihood of something hitting and winning money and coming out ahead, I think that exists. So let me work on that in the break. We got to take one here on the Weekly Wager. Come right back, wrap up the show with Josh DiMaggio right after this.
More bets coming up. This is the Weekly Wager on 94.5 ESPN.
Your chance to spend an afternoon on the links with ESPN Milwaukee is just a tap away. The 2025 Delzer ESPN Milwaukee Open happens July 15th at the Ball Golf Course, and we're inviting a lucky ESPN Milwaukee fan and 3 guests. Hang out with your favorite ESPN Milwaukee hosts, play around at one of Wisconsin's most popular courses, and enjoy food and drinks throughout the day. Open up the contest tab in the ESPN Wisconsin app and register for your chance to win this fan foursome with ESPN Milwaukee.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller from Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more. Custom T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, you name it, we can do it. Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more is family-owned and all about celebrating life's big moments. Maybe it's a milestone birthday, a celebration for your child's first goal, or that work fundraising event. We are everyone's printer. No minimum orders, affordable designs, and help straight from me and our team. We're the one-stop shop for all your custom needs. Start your project today at bigfrog.com/Mequon.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman. A big focus in America today is your health. And you can't be fully healthy if you are not physically mobile to do the things you want to do. If you're someone that keeps on experiencing that joint pain, then you need to visit QC Kinetics. When I go to QC Kinetics' Greenfield location, I am amazed at everything that they have to give you your life back and finally fix that pain that you're experiencing. Everything they do is top of the line. From the free consultation where you can get an ultrasound of your joints and see what is nagging you in real time, to the effective and long-lasting treatments of PRP and stem cells that they offer to give you long-lasting pain relief. Be one of the tens of thousands of other patients who now have a pain-free life because of the treatments they received at QC Kinetics. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Make plans to stop by Third Ward Beer Garden at Catalano Square. Experience Milwaukee's favorite beer garden, the perfect spot to meet up with friends in the Third Ward. Open Wednesday through Sunday with live music Thursday through Saturday. Good times and great vibes await at Third Ward Beer Garden.
Hey, it's Alex Stroh from Mr. Irrelevant, and we are hitting the road. Friday, June 13th, spooky. We're heading to Door County Distillery in Carlsville. If you're spending the weekend in Door County, come check out Door County Distillery and hang out with us from noon until 2. That's Friday, June 13th at Door County Distillery in Carlsville. But even if you're not heading to Door County anytime soon, you can bring Door County to you with their cherry brandy for your old fashions infused with Door County cherries, whiskeys, rums, and plenty more. Check them out, doorcountydistillery.com.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's Mark Tusher, and if you know me, you know I love our home teams like the Brewers and UW Credit Union. And now, when you open a rewards checking account at any UW Credit Union branch by June 6th, you get 2 Brewers tickets for an upcoming game. Plus, enjoy all the best rewards like early payday and cash back on credit card purchases. Visit any UW Credit Union branch or uwcu.org for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions do apply.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
This is the Weekly Wager live from Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN and at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Back here on the Weekly Wager, Jen Latta, Josh DiMaggio, no Greg Matzik, no Ben Brust, but I think we're doing okay without those guys.
I'd say we're doing better.
Yeah, well, all right. Put it on the resume.
I could say so myself.
We have talked about the offensive and defensive rookies of the year in the NFL. We have talked about the Packers and the division and Joshy's. I think that sometimes when Joshy gets these numbers in his head, he reminds me of the guy from A Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe's character. That is a dated reference, by the way, so I apologize if you're like, no, we're not.
The younger
super
people
old.
in the room are looking at you like you have multiple heads.
Yeah. Do you at least know Russell Crowe from Gladiator? Look, he's like, I don't know Russell Crowe, period.
Russell Pigeon, who?
Wow. Okay. Anyway, Joshy, you got your notebook there. What else do you like this week for our loyal listeners here on Weekly Wager?
Yeah, so this season in the NFL is some of my favorite to take some of these player props, these season-long player props. And now there's hundreds of them available to you if you go through the Potawatomi Sportsbook and look at them. But there are a few that stood out to me, and I'm going to address them a similar way I did when we were talking about the season-long awards. Michael Penix Jr., his over-under for passing yards is 3,250. That is a bet of a guy who might not even be, who they're thinking might not start the entirety of the season. So if you believe he is, that's one I love. I would bet on the over there. Justin Fields, 2,500 passing yards is his over-under. I would put multiple units on that one. I'm that confident in it. Not because I think he's great.
That he will go over.
Yes.
But that he'll be the starter.
Yes.
That's what you're
that
banking
he's
on.
going to be the starter, and he's going to start every single game, and they're going to have... It's 2025, you have to pass the ball. 2,500, under that number would be so low.
Insane.
The other ones are Geno Smith. His is 3,650. I like the over. Devontae Adams, over 1,000 receiving yards. You can get a bet of minus 106 on that. And then Brock Bowers, over 1,000 receiving yards as well.
Nervous at all about the Devontae one with the other weapons that they have there?
I'm not, because that offense and that team and that quarterback has shown the ability to support 2 producers of that high level. The only reason Cooper Kupp didn't do it more, I think, was due to
how
his
close
injuries.
was Stafford to like 5,000 yards?
And then the other one, Drake May, over 3,250. I think he's going to be one of those guys who everyone is extremely impressed with.
Really good stuff. If you missed some of Joshy's suggestions, you can find them on YouTube on our Weekly Wager page. All of our shows are there. Thanks for hanging out with Josh DiMaggio and Jen Latta here on the Weekly Wager from Potawatomi Sportsbook. The analysis is coming up next on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee.
At Grunberg Offices,